you, Mlingane, for making the time. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening. Thanks to John for her patience in chasing me to ensure that I'm able to come to this discussion. I hope it will be. I have a few thoughts that I'd like to share, and a few selections of writings, statements from Universal House of Justice, and I hope you are then thereafter sharing some thoughts and reflections. We can open up for discussion. So the topic is cultivating a culture of unity and collaboration in South Africa. So let me just say that, first of all, I believe that each and every one of us have a role to play in cultivating unity and collaboration in South Africa, that sort of culture. And I hope to draw on a number of players, for example, the individual, the institutions, the community, but also certain groups in society, the youth, the women, the men, and then we'll see how we go. So excuse me, in a letter of the Universal House of Justice, which is the supreme governing body of the Baha'is of the world, to the friends in the Democratic Republic of Congo, it's dated 1 November 2022. The Universal House of Justice said that at the heart of the divisions in society today is a crisis of identity. The way people think about who they are and how they see their place in the world determine how they relate to others and what they regard as their individual and collective purpose. So the conflicts that we see in the world, they sort of stem from this, or at the heart of this is this challenge of identity. I'm Xhosa, I'm South African, I'm a man, all these identities, they can cause this sort of friction in society. The Universal House of Justice also wrote to South Africa in 1986, and it wrote to all the national spiritual assemblies and made a comment about apartheid. And I thought it was actually quite interesting. I never knew that the Universal House of Justice had shared something about this. And it said, this is 1986, it said, social protest originating in moral outrage has assumed the character of political action. But political action in the absence of conditions for genuine consultation, in which partisan interests are subordinated to the interests of the whole, will not itself bring an enduring resolution of problems as serious as those convulsing South Africa. However difficult the task and however disheartening the present situation may seem, segments of South African society who believe full integration to the fundamental issue face the challenge of focusing their efforts on creating such conditions. This is a moral imperative as urgent as any other motivating peoples of goodwill who seek to free South Africa from its terrible burden. So what I draw from this is that the world is organized along political lines. You are either for Langa or you are against him. And therefore, we're not able to have a deep sense of coming together to understand what the issues are in a way that as we come to realize what the truth is, we can evolve together. We can be united in our actions. It's either you are for this or you're against that. And also what I draw from this is that we have to spend our time and energies on working towards uniting and building what we believe would be the the future society we want to live in. Because we can so be distracted by what we see in the world and commenting and all the negative things, and thereby participating in deepening the cleavages in the society. So Abdu'l-Baha explains that the more qualities of cooperation and mutual assistance are manifested by a people, the more will human society advance in progress and prosperity. So the Universal House of Justice also said that much of what distinguishes African life is to be found in patterns of behavior displayed in the tribe and particularly in the family. Increasingly, urban life threatens to destroy the positive qualities of such patterns. Since change is inevitable if progress is to be made by any African society, a primary challenge to Baha'is is to preserve and improve those wholesome aspects of tribal and family custom that are in accord with Baha'i teachings, and to dispense with those that are not. So it seems there are positive things, and this is highlighting the erosion of the family life, which has been a feature of African life, which is contributing to some of the challenges that we are seeing in society at the moment. So we know that South Africa has a number of social issues facing it. And one of these is racial prejudice. We seem at one point or another to have certain individuals in society that sort of flare up some emotions, and then this dies down, and then there's something else, maybe it's gender-based violence. But we have a number of social issues which become prominent in our society at the national level. And we struggle to navigate around these. How do we come together as a people to resolve them? In the book Advent of Divine Civilization, it says that let neither white or black think that the solution of so vast a problem is a matter that exclusively concerns the other. Let neither think that such a problem can either easily or immediately be resolved. Let neither think that anything short of genuine love, extreme patience, true humility, consummate tact, sound initiative, mature wisdom, and deliberate, persistent, and prayerful effort can proceed in blotting out the stain which this patent evil has left on the fair name of their common country. So we've seen in our country that we point fingers at each other. So this is not my problem. It's for them. It's for Lottie to deal with this. If it's not Lottie or no, it must be Kai's problem, but I don't have to do anything about it. I don't have to contribute because I'm fine. This doesn't emanate from me. It emanates from somebody else. But this, highlights that all of us, have a duty to work to resolve, this problem. In another statement, the Baha'i International Community says that racism deprives the human being of their dignity, and it corrupts the perpetrator, which is very interesting. So it affects, both people who are involved in this issue. So one of the challenges that we face in South Africa, as I've mentioned, so the erosion of the family is such a crucial part in this. And if we are to fix the social challenges that face us, we need to also think about how are we going to reconstruct, family life and build this. Because it's the first unit of society. The BIC says the discipline that governs our relationships with the world is largely formed within the family. The tendencies to be unjust or just, to act violently or with kindness, to be dishonest or trustworthy, are usually developed at home. These habits are then taken into every instance of social interaction, becoming either obstacles or stepping stones to progress, tearing apart or weaving together the very fabric of society. So that's how important family life, is, and it influences really how we interact with others because of the culture that we've been brought up in. So now I'd like to look at the role of youth in cultivating this culture of unity and collaboration. There's a lot in the Baha'i writings that highlights that youth have an incredible role to play in the peace and the unity of the world. And I think when I think about this, there are a number of reasons. For example, they have an acute sense of justice. They have the ability to manifest Ubuntu. And so they are positioned, in society to be able to see clearly, because they still have this ability to understand what's right and what's wrong, and they feel strongly about injustice. So the world would benefit, indeed our society would benefit to include youth in the conversation of how we build, a society that is based on unity, social justice, and so forth. And so the Universal House of Justice said to the youth in Iran in 2010, and I'll just read this, which I thought was quite powerful, and maybe we can reflect about it towards the end. It said that the key to resolving these social ills rests in the hands of a youthful generation, convinced of the nobility of human beings, eagerly seeking a deeper understanding of the true purpose of existence, able to distinguish between divine religion and mere superstition, clear in the view of science and religion as two independent yet complementary systems of knowledge that propel human progress, conscious of and drawn to the beauty and power of unity in diversity, secure in the knowledge that real glory is to be found in service to one's country and to the peoples of the world, and mindful that the acquisition of wealth is praiseworthy only insofar as it is attained through just means and expended for benevolent purposes, for the promotion of knowledge and toward the common good. So this is what the Universal House of Justice said to the youth in Iran, and I think it applies to the youth in South Africa, and indeed the youth all over the world. And there's something that I find striking, this ability to distinguish between divine religion and mere superstition. We know that in our country in the past few years, so much came out in the corruption of religion. The Commission for the Promotion and Protection of Cultural, Religious, and Linguistic Communities had hearings and uncovered so much corruption in religion. and it concluded in a report that religion in South Africa is in a state of crisis, based on their findings. So that we see that this is being used to undermine people, to mislead people, to confuse them. And so this is a very interesting, and then also it's talking about, the the importance as youth already to be thinking about, the service to their country, but also to earning an income that that comes about as a result of just means of earning a good livelihood. And then, I think I was thinking about this, that, it will go a long way even in reducing the extremes of wealth and poverty, because the society would understand the importance of justice in ensuring that people earn accordingly, and that when they run businesses, they understand the importance of ensuring that everyone benefits, the workers benefit from this. Imagine a world where people are not striking, that there's trust, that the employer is taking certain decisions for the benefit of the workers. And I think this is an issue in our country, this distrust, on race, business and labor, government and the people. There are these gaps that we see. So then, what is the role of institutions of society in this process? The document, The Prosperity of Humankind, touches on this, and it says that the institutions of society will succeed in eliciting and directing the potentialities latent in the consciousness of the world's peoples, to the extent that the exercise of authority is governed by principles that are in harmony with the evolving interests of a rapidly maturing human race. Such principles include the obligation of those in authority to win the confidence, respect, and genuine support of those whose actions they seek to govern, to consult openly and to the fullest extent possible with all whose interests are affected by decisions being arrived at. So it then goes into the aspect of the importance of consultation, that to be able to resolve our issues and to build unity and to instill this culture of collaboration in our society, we have to have consultation at the heart of our activities. And so in this case here, it's showing that the government or any institution has to think about engaging the people and consulting and hearing from them, and also informing them when the decisions that are going to be taken will affect the people. This will go a long way in building this trust between the institutions that govern the society and the people. So do men have a role in this process? In South Africa, we're known to have a beautiful constitution that guarantees the rights of all, that talks about the equality, of the genders. And but how does it look like? What is the role of men in this process? In the BIC statement, it said that men must come to realize that under current conditions of inequality, the development of their full potential is not possible. It is they who must find the moral courage to convey and model new understandings of masculinity, and who must challenge and question the narrow roles that society and the media have assigned to them. It is not enough to create space in the current social order for women to play their rightful role. Rather, the goal is for women and men to work shoulder to shoulder, each as the helpmate of the other, in the context of family, work, community, and international affairs, to construct a society which allows the flourishing of all. So this is the balance which we have to strike. And without this, our society will not prosper. Without having women play a positive role in the creation of this culture, of unity and collaboration, because we deprive society of their contributions. And it's highlighting here that men themselves will not attain their true and full potential. So as I'm going towards the end, let me just highlight what the ideal principles within consultation. I've mentioned consultation and why this is so important to create this desired unity and collaboration in our society. Abdu'l-Baha was the center of the covenant, the great exemplar, says that the purpose is to emphasize the statement that consultation must have for its object the investigation of truth. So what is it that we are talking about? What are we consulting about? It says that he who expresses an opinion should not voice it as correct and right, but set it forth as a contribution to the consensus of opinion, for the light of reality becomes apparent when two opinions coincide. A spark is produced when flint and steel come together. Man should weigh his opinions with the utmost sincerity, calmness, and composure. Before expressing his own views, he should carefully consider the views already advanced by others. If he finds that a previously expressed opinion is more true and worthy, he should accept it immediately and not willfully hold to an opinion of his own. So it's interesting, as I'm reading it keeps saying he and him, so I wonder, men need this more than women.
We always did.
So it's this at the basic level, it requires of us a level of maturity to learn how to talk to each other, to learn how to come to conclusions, basically not to think of myself and my own interests, but to think about the collective, to have a collective, as the uppermost important thing in our deliberations, but not to push my own individual feelings, but also my own interests against the interests of the whole. So if we're able to get this right, we may, as a people, be able to walk towards the glorious destiny which has been highlighted, and that the Universal House of Justice sees the potential that South Africa has the ability to reach. In closing, I'd like to just quote from the letter of the Universal House of Justice of 30 December 2023, and this addresses us as individuals. I think it's apt to end in this, because again, it's the opposite of how the society operates, and we need to embody some of the things that it's mentioning. It says, and this is addressing the people who desire to see unity and cooperation in the world. It says that they are committed to the prosperity of all, recognizing that the welfare of individuals rests in the welfare of society at large. They are loyal citizens who eschew partisanship and the contest for worldly power. Instead, they are focused on transcending differences, harmonizing perspectives, and promoting the use of consultation for making decisions. They emphasize qualities and attitudes such as trustworthiness, cooperation, and forbearance that are building blocks of a stable social order. They champion rationality and science as essential for human progress. They advocate tolerance and understanding, and with the inherent oneness of humanity uppermost in their minds, they view everyone as a potential partner to collaborate with. And they strive to foster fellow feeling even among groups who may traditionally have been hostile to one another. They are conscious of how the forces of materialism are at work around them, and their eyes are wide open to the many injustices that persist in the world. Yet they are equally clear-sighted about the creative power of unity and humanity's capacity for altruism. They see the power that true religion possesses to transform hearts and overcome distrust. And so, with a confidence in what the future holds, they labor to cultivate the conditions in which progress can occur. They share their beliefs liberally with others, remaining respectful of the freedom of conscience of every soul. And they never impose their own standards on anyone. Close quote. Thank you. Maybe we can have a conversation.
Thank you very much.